Welcome to day 2 in Bogotá, and today we are going to visit some more museums. As you can hear, we both got a cold. Marty and me, we got super sick. We were just laying in bed yesterday taking paracetamol and trying to get our nose clear, but today we got some energy back, so let's go and explore. Behind us is the famous Gold Museum of Bogotá, and Marty is just currently here getting his shoes cleaned. This is a very sufficient service, and look how happy he is. He's gonna have new shoes afterwards. And actually Bogotá is quite dangerous. So in Bogotá there's the northern part of the city where we are staying, where the more wealthy people have their houses, where many restaurants are, many big hotels, and then the Centro Historico, that's where we are currently. And the Centro Historico is beautiful, it has old colonial buildings, etc., churches, but in the evening you cannot be here, it's too dangerous. Even the locals say don't go there in the evening. So the city is actually divided into two parts. So let's go and explore the Gold Museum.
So the whole museum starts with a historic approach about the use of metal. Did you know that the first metal used was actually copper, and they started using it 9,000 years before Christ? So it's pretty impressive. And the museum is located in the historic center of Bogotá. It's not very big, so you need maybe an hour and a half to go through it. The entrance fee is 4,000 pesos. We've done with our visit of the Gold Museum. You can see I'm wearing glasses. I had a little problem with my eyes because my eyes got too dry. So I had to go to the doctor, and the doctor said I'm not producing enough tears, so I should probably cry a little bit more. But I got medicine and nothing serious, but I cannot wear my contacts, so that's why I'm obliged to wear my glasses to see something. Anyway, so the Gold Museum tour is done. This museum has 55,000 pieces of gold from the pre-hispanic era found in various places in Colombia. And it is indeed a fascinating museum. It's very well curated and very well explained. You don't need a guide because everything is in Spanish and in English, which is unusual in some museums that we've seen. It's mainly pieces that have been found in the different tombs and religious artifacts, and also things or pieces that people were using in everyday life. And the whole thing starts actually with a historic approach on metal.
Well, this is great. Rain, rain, rain. But even the ducks wouldn't come out in weather like this.
So here you can see the usual Bogotá afternoon rain, or should I say maybe it's a flooding. There's so much rain and so much wind, and it's just crazy.
Another museum to visit while in Bogotá is the Museo Nacional. This is probably like many national museums exhibiting history of Colombia and different zones and areas. It's still raining, heavy rain, and this apparently goes all the way until the end of the rainy season, which is mid-December. And until then, every morning, every evening or afternoon, there's rain.
Actually, always around 3 o'clock.
Yeah, always more or less at the same time.
Precise.
Yeah, so let's see the museum. And the National Museum of Bogotá, of Colombia in Bogotá, used to be a prison. So this is how it looks like in the courtyard. It is an X-shaped building and has a lot of exhibition space. Museums in South America, this one also has explanations only in Spanish, so you need some basic Spanish knowledge to understand all the exhibits. And here you have the portrait of Simón Bolívar, the liberator of this area. So in the 19th century there was a state called the Larger Colombia or Big Colombia that encompassed Colombia, the Colombia of today, Venezuela, Peru and Panama. And Panama was actually the last part that Colombia lost to the US. So here you can see the image of the Grand Colombia.
Some parts of the museum are really dark, or they have a problem with the lighting. You cannot see the pictures. So dark. And the current president, Mr. Santos, actually got the Nobel Prize, the Peace Nobel Prize, to make peace with the FARC after almost half a century in his country. And this is how the certificate of a Nobel Prize looks like. And here you can see the medal he got. And of course also not to be missed, in the National Museum, pictures of Fernando Botero from the Botero Museum. You have seen already some pictures before. So cool, these a little bit oversized figures.
So the challenge of national museums is definitely how to trace a history and an identity of a nation with objects and images. And actually in this one, the most interesting part here is the story about the peace process with the FARC. There's a very good photographic exhibition of that subject. And of course the building here is very interesting. As said, it's an old prison. It is kind of gloomy and cold and humid here inside. So this must have been a very tough prison. But definitely a worth visit if you speak Spanish enough to understand all the explanations. So this was the National Museum of Colombia in Bogotá.
What's really cool in Bogotá, there are many bike lanes through the city where you can bicycle. And they are really using it.
We're heading now to the Colpatria Tower, which is the tallest, maybe, tower in Bogotá. And it's night. The sun just went away and it became night. So we're going to the tower and have a look how that looks like. It's very cold and very humid. So we're kind of freezing.
This place is 196 meters high.
Here you can see how big this city is. We're actually facing south, and south is where the less fortunate areas of the city are, and then north is where the wealthy people are living.
And down there is a big stadium where they used to do bullfights. But since 1 year it's not allowed anymore to do bullfights. It's a huge coliseum, looks like a coliseum. This is the tower we have just been on, illuminated from the outside during the dark. Now we're in a typical Colombian restaurant, and I ordered a typical Colombian dish, which is soup, which you can see up there. It's a soup made from corn with chicken and avocado. And Marty ordered, I think, a grilled chicken. And there's some cooked banana, avocado, rice, and some taco. I don't know what that is. And Marty has some grilled chicken with chimichurri sauce and french fries. And a banana as well. And with this soup, actually, you get a pot of cream. Sweet cream and capers, which are supposed to be added to the soup. You can see it here. And Marty's just trying his banana.
This is a cooked banana.
A cooked banana which is cooked.
But it's not like a normal banana.
No, it's more.
It's like it has a texture of a potato.
Yeah. But it's banana. It's still a banana.
Yeah, this is not. After this restaurant experience in Bogotá, where we managed finally to try some Colombian specialties, we're back at the hotel, and you could see some of the sights of Bogotá today, the Gold Museum and the National Museum, and of course the Colpatria Tower, where we could show you a little bit the size of the city, which is really big. It's actually sort of divided into north and south, and there's a very long distance between them. We were actually located more in the north, and getting down to the Centro Histórico in the south was sometimes a little bit of a battle, because traffic in Bogotá is horrendous. There is so much traffic, it sometimes took us nearly an hour to go down to the Centro Histórico. And you might want to check really where you stay in this city, because depending on which part of the city you're located, it sort of restricts you to stay in that area. Thank you for watching the way we saw it in Bogotá, Colombia. You can subscribe here on our channel. Another video is suggested to you here. Safe travel always, and good night.